Another arrest at Celina ISD. It's October 31st, 2025, and these are your headlines. Well, I want to start out by saying thank you to Sydney Henry, who was filling in while I've been gone the last couple of weeks. I know it's Friday, but we've still got a lot of news. The saga continues in an embattled school district as police have arrested another middle school teacher in Celina ISD. 40-year-old Jania Walder, a sixth grade English teacher at Moore Middle School, was removed from her classroom yesterday afternoon under suspicion of intoxication. She was later taken into custody and charged with child endangerment. In a notice to parents, interim principal Kendrick Smith said staff immediately alerted school resource officers, district administrators, and Celina police. The district also notified state agencies, including Child Protective Services and the Texas Education Agency, as required by law. Police confirmed officers responded to reports that a teacher appeared impaired. Walter was booked into the Collin County Jail on October 30th. Bond has not yet been set. Child endangerment is a state jail felony carrying up to 2 years in jail and a $10,000 fine. Smith praised staff who reported the incident, saying, "When any of us see something, we say something." Well, Moore Middle School's leadership remains in turmoil. Principal Allison Jin and head coach Bill Elliott are on leave amid a separate investigation into Coach Caleb Elliott, Bill Elliott's son, who was arrested earlier this month for secretly recording students in a locker room. Families have since filed lawsuits against the district and multiple employees. Texas Secretary of State Jane Nelson is formally now opposing the Republican Party of Texas's effort to close the state's primaries, filing new responses in federal court late Thursday. Nelson's filings urge the court to dismiss the lawsuit brought by the state GOP and to reject the joint consent judgment Attorney General Ken Paxton and party leaders sought earlier this month to immediately close Republican primaries. Texas GOP Chairman Abraham George said, "This lawsuit is about protecting Republicans' right to choose their own standard bearers." When the case was filed, but Nelson argues the GOP lacks standing and that the case is not yet ripe since the party's own Rule 46 on closed primaries won't take effect until June 2026 and still requires delegate approval. She said, "As Secretary of State, I am sworn to uphold the laws of Texas. I've never opposed closed primaries, but the legislature must act before any change can be made." Well, Nelson also called the proposed Paxton GOP settlement collusive, saying it lacks the adversarial process required by law. The court will now decide whether the case proceeds or stalls efforts to end this crossover voting before 2028.
But every day I run into something that I'm dealing with the county judge.
Judge Bray recused himself, but as we'll soon see, he couldn't resist reinserting himself into the process.
Signing notices, setting deadlines, accepting candidate applications, rejecting candidate applications. The dispute that ensued thereafter was centered on whether or not Judge Bray had the authority to do those things or should have been doing those things.
Head over to TexasScorecard.com today to watch our latest documentary, Kicking the Circle.
The Texas Public Policy Foundation is suing the city of Dallas, accusing it of enforcing nearly 90 illegal ordinances that the city itself has admitted violate state law and the Texas Constitution. The lawsuit centers on the Texas Regulatory Consistency Act, that was passed in 2023 to block local governments from adopting or enforcing regulations related to business, labor, property, or other areas already covered by state law. In July, TPPF warned Dallas that 133 of its ordinances violated the act. It's known by critics as the Death Star Bill, and that they threatened to sue if they weren't repealed. Despite acknowledging the problem in an internal 2023 memo, city officials have repealed only 6 of those ordinances. Well, filed Wednesday in Denton County District Court, the lawsuit seeks a declaratory judgment invalidating those ordinances, a permanent injunction blocking their enforcement, and, of course, payment of attorney's fees. TPPF attorney Nathan Seltzer said Dallas kept the overwhelming majority of those ordinances on the books, even though it admitted they are preempted. The plaintiffs, 3 Dallas residents that are being represented by TPPF, say they've been harmed by the city's unlawful regulations. The case could become a major test of the state's authority over local governments. For more of today's stories, go to TexasScorecard.com.